What happens when someone dedicates their life to justice, only to realize that the system itself is broken? When someone's core beliefs about fairness collapses, it creates what's called a moral injury, a deep fracture within their own identity and ego, and this is exactly what we see in Higuruma. In this video, we will be exploring the psychology of Higuruma in Jujutsu Kaisen. This video is anime friendly, so there will not be manga spoilers. This week's JJK episode introduces the fan favorite character Hiromi Higuruma to the story. The first time we see Higuruma, he is talking to his client who was on trial for murder. The client ran away from the police when they were being questioned about a recent murder, and when the police followed him to his house, they found the murder weapon with an exact DNA match to the victim. During interrogation, the client says that he found the weapon and he was going to give it to the police at a later time. On first look, this seems like an open and shut case. I mean, who the hell will just hold a murder weapon and give it to a police at a later time? Higuruma even agrees that this client's story sounds very sus, but when diving into the client's background as an elderly caretaker who works for a borderline illegal organization that doesn't pay him, Higuruma believes that there is some plausibility to the story. His assistant complains that he often takes cases where getting a good defense is borderline impossible. What this reveals to us about Higuruma is that he is someone that wants to hear out people that society will turn a blind eye to. He has a very strong sense of justice, and his motivation isn't money. As explained by his assistant, the funds the defense lawyer gets in Japan are very low compared to the prosecutors. Through a conversation with Higuruma's previous co-worker, we learned that he has always been like this. In a past case, a 19-year-old got charged with a DUI, and what happened was all the seniors in the company sort of forced him to drink and drive. However, upon the investigation, all the seniors have corroborated their stories to acquit them of any guilt. As a result, Higuruma's client gets charged with being guilty, and his client rages at Higuruma, saying that he lied to him. While Higuruma's co-worker was lecturing him on why it's futile to take these impossible cases where the client ends up resenting you in the end, Higuruma simply states that the client's mental and financial health are down the drain, so he can't blame them on lashing out at him. The co-worker proceeds to question Higuruma, asking him about his mental health. We will get back to Higuruma's answer to this question later on because now we got a trial to get into. To the surprise of Higuruma's assistant, they have won the case. At the time of the murder, the client was seen in CCTV picking up groceries. To further add to this, there was a person who was missing from the apartment complex during the time of the murder, but Higuruma knows that this isn't over. The prosecutors will just appeal. The client is thanking Higuruma, and Higuruma says that the trial isn't over yet, so there's no need to thank him. The client corrects Higuruma, saying that he wasn't thanking him for winning the trial, but for simply believing in him. When a genuinely nice person is surrounded by a society who thinks they are evil and refuses to even indulge in the possibility of their innocence, it will break them. However, having even just one person take the time to genuinely listen to them is all it takes to give them a grasp of sanity. And that's why Higuruma takes on these impossible cases, not just to win, but to bring a little fairness back into a society that will close their eyes and ears to those being prosecuted. In Japan, the criminal conviction rate sits at a resounding 99.8%. It's this high because the prosecutors only bring forward cases they can probably win. But the issue with this is that once you are put in trial, everyone just assumes you're guilty. Also, as Higuruma explains, the defense is often given a very limited budget to work with, while the prosecutors can use taxpayers' money and resources to have many man-hours work on the case. When news of this case broke, the public saw Higuruma as someone who protected a murderer rather than someone who defended the innocent. During the retrial, the judge found the client guilty. And the worst part of it is that the prosecutors had no new evidence. The judge simply accepted that there was no reason to suspect the missing person of the crime. Let me remind you that the client was found on CCTV during the time of the crime, and the judge's logic is basically there is no reason to suspect the missing person, therefore the CCTV footage is irrelevant and now you are 100% guilty. It doesn't make any sense. Now going back to Higuruma's co-worker's question about his mental health, Higuruma explained that since he was young, it was always against his nature to leave things alone when he felt like they were wrong. The goddess of justice blinds herself to maintain a fair trial, and people blind themselves in order to protect them. Higuruma wants to at least keep his eyes open. He wants to bring some form of justice to a society that can turn a blind eye to the injustices that occur in its very own court system, which is why this loss breaks Higuruma. Even with an extremely strong defense, the judge simply followed the prosecutor's claim of guilt. This case was over before it even entered the court. The system was a facade, and this person was automatically guilty before he was given a trial. Higuruma just learned that his ideology did not matter, because the system is designed to turn a blind eye to those who are truly innocent. Next time we see Higuruma, he is in his iconic bathtub scene. He is taking a bath with his clothes on. Things stop mattering to Higuruma, so he's been doing things he assumed he shouldn't. When someone's core belief system collapses, they stop following the rules they once believed in, because the rules themselves are now meaningless. Higuruma refusing to end the culling game seems very uncharacteristic from the person we spent the last 11 minutes with, but it's important to remember that Higuruma feels like the entire Japan justice system is unjust. Lady Justice is not blind. The rules of the culling games are. The rules don't have any bias to create unfairness. So just using the previews and not getting too much into spoilers, Higuruma's domain acts like a pseudo courtroom. So in the culling games, he feels like he can give people fair trials unlike the Japan judicial system. Like how Higuruma is battling the unfairness of the Japan judicial system, I'm battling the unfairness of the YouTube algorithm. I am trying to reach my goal of 50 subscribers, so any subscription truly means a lot to me. And with that out of the way, that should wrap up this video. Bye!